Assalamu alaikum. This is 70th lecture of managerial economics. As you know, these days we are discussing market structure. In last lecture, we have discussed short run and long run perfect competition, but in real world, it's not exist. On other hand, there is another model of market structure that is monopoly, and in real world, its example exist but are less. So monopoly will help us to understand the other markets which are close to monopoly. Before discussing it, I will give you a brief review of this lecture which we will discuss today. First of all, we will discuss market power, monopoly, measurement of market power, and determinants of market power. After this, we will discuss common entry, barriers, and at the end of the lecture, we will discuss short-run profit, maximization, and minimization for monopoly. First of all, we will discuss market power. Basically, market power is the ability of a firm to raise price without losing all its sales. Any firm that faces downward sloping demand has market power. So market power means the firm wants to increase price of a good and also wants that increased price don't affect the supply. And always firm price should be above the average costs. And in market power, like in monopoly and monopolistic competition, firm demand curve will be downward sloping. Gives firm ability to raise price above average cost and earn economic profit if demand and cost condition permit. Economic profit mean abnormal profit which a firm get in long run. So in monopoly, in short run and long run, firm earn abnormal profit. Next is monopoly. A monopoly from the Greek word mono meaning single and polo meaning to sell is that form of market in which a single seller sells a product which has no substitute. So monopoly is a situation of a market in which only one firm presents the whole industry, and this firm has a full control on the selling and purchasing of a good. In other words, monopoly is a model of market where there is no close substitute, and also when there is a single seller and producer of a product and there are many buyers, produces and sells a good or service for which there are no good substitutes. New firms are prevented from entering market because of a barrier to entry. So here are restrictions on entry and common entry barriers. Seller is the price maker. Measurement of market power. Degree of market power inversely related to price elasticity of demand. So here is negative relationship between market power and price elasticity of demand. As we know, price elasticity of demand means what changes come in our demand due to change in price. So the less elastic the firm demand, the greater its degree of market power. Less elastic means when the percentage change in quantity demanded less than percentage change in price. So our elasticity demand will be less than 1. So when our demand will be less elastic, that point degree of market power will be greater. Here demand curve will be steeper and downward sloping, but the greater the index and the degree of market power. The fewer close substitute for a firm's product, the smaller the elasticity of demand and the greater the firm's market. When demand is perfectly elastic, In the case of perfect competition and demand is horizontal, the firm has no market power. So in perfect competition, we know that a firm has a perfect elastic demand curve where prices are fixed and the firm has no power. But in monopoly case, firm has full control on prices and has market power and downward sloping demand curve. Lerner index measures proportionate amount by which price exceeds marginal cost. So this is the formula of Lerner index, which is equal to price minus marginal cost over price. Lerner index will be equal to 0 under perfect competition. It will be increases as market power increases, also equals minus 1 over E, which shows that the index and market power vary inversely with elasticity. As I said in previous slide, the lower the elasticity of demand absolute value, the greater the index and the degree of market power. So here is the negative relationship between elasticity of demand and the degree of market power. If consumers view two goods as substitutes, cross price elasticity of demand is positive. The higher the positive cross price elasticity, the greater the substitutability between two goods, and the smaller the degree of market power for the two firms. So here is the negative relationship between the cross price elasticity. When the chances of substitutability will be greater, then the degree of market power will be smaller. Next is determinants of market power. Entry of new firms into a market power of existing firms by increasing the number of substitutes. So when new firms will be entered in market, it means that number of substitute increasing. A firm can possesses a high degree of market power only when strong barriers to entry exist. So when restrictions to enter new firms in market, it means that there are high degree of market power, as in monopoly case or monopolistic competition case. Conditions that make it difficult for new firms to enter a market in which economic profit are being earned. As I said in previous slide, in monopoly case, firms only earn abnormal profit. Economic profit mean abnormal profit which a firm get in long run. So in monopoly, firm only get economic profit or abnormal profit. Common entry barriers, economies of scale. When long run average cost declines over a wide range of output relative to demand for the product, there may not be room for another large producer to enter market. So as we know, in economies of scale, in long run, over the time when production will increase, average cost will decrease. So may not be space for new producer to enter market. Barriers created by government like licenses and exclusive franchises. In this diagram you can see when cost decreasing over the time, our production is increasing and national monopoly rises as a result of economies of scale. Lerner index will be equal to 0 under perfect competition. It will be increases as market power increases, also equals minus 1 over E, which shows that the index and market power vary inversely with elasticity. As I said in previous slide, the lower the elasticity of demand. Next is demand and marginal revenue for a monopolist. Market demand curve is the firm's demand curve Monopolists must lower price to sell additional unit of output. Marginal revenue is less than price for all but the first unit sold. When marginal revenue is positive or negative, demand is inelastic. For linear demand, marginal revenue is also linear, has the same vertical intercept as demand and is twice as steep. In this diagram, on x-axis is quantity and on y-axis is price. Here for marginal revenue curve is less from average revenue or demand curve. In monopoly case, demand curve is steeper and downward sloping because firm has market power. So you can see that here demand curve is steeper and above the marginal revenue because in monopoly and monopolistic competition firm has a market power and has full control on prices. That's why demand curve is downward sloping. So you can see that here the demand curve or average revenue curve is above the marginal revenue curve. Short-run profit maximization for monopoly. Monopolist will produce a positive output if some price on the demand curve exceeds average variable cost. So when the firm price greater than average variable cost, that point firm producing positive output, or you can say that maximum profit or abnormal profit. Here firm earn abnormal profit. Profit maximization or loss minimization occurs the point where MC equal to MR. Short run profit maximization for monopoly. If price greater than average total cost, firm makes economic profit. Economic profit mean abnormal profit, as in monopoly case firm only earn abnormal profit. If average total cost is greater than price and price greater than average variable cost, firm bearing loss here but continues to produce in short run. So at this point, when average total cost is greater than price and price greater than average variable cost, here firm bearing minimum losses but firm is producing. If demand falls below average variable cost at every level of output, uh, firm shut down and losses only fixed cost. So demand falls mean when the price below the average variable cost at this level, firm shut down and bearing losses only total fixed equal to total fixed cost. Look at this diagram. On x-axis we are taking quantity of a good and on y-axis we are taking price. Here marginal revenue and average revenue curves are linear curves and uh, both are downward sloping. You can see that um, demand curve is above the marginal revenue curve and demand curve is steeper here. In profit maximization case, price is greater than average total cost and average variable cost and firm earn abnormal profit here. Next is short run loss minimization for monopoly. On x-axis we are taking quantity and on y-axis we are taking price. You can see that our demand curve and marginal revenue curves both are linear and downward sloping, and our demand curve is above the marginal revenue curve. You can see that our demand curve is steeper. So here our average total cost is above the price. You can see that here price we are taking price 75 and average total cost is above the price, and our average variable cost you can see that at F point is below the price. So when our here our um, firm's average total cost, firm bearing average total cost as a loss because average total cost is above the price. So here firm's loss is minimum because firm covering average variable cost because average variable cost is below the price. So firm bearing average total cost as a loss, but he is covering average variable cost. That's why here firms uh, losses are minimum, and firm will be shut down at the point when uh, price will be less than average variable cost. So when average variable cost greater than will be greater than price, at that point firm will shut down. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.